Hey folks, it's Lindsay Hellis with SPS back in the building. And where am I at? The world headquarters for the Oliver Law Group here in Troy, Michigan. I'm with my guy and partner at the Oliver Law Group, Mr. Cameron Bell, Esquire. Good brother, how you
Yes,
doing?
sir. Good, good.
Good. Happy to have him here. We're going to talk about this great announcement that Cameron's going to play a very essential part in. I'm talking about the launch of SPS and the high school name, image, and likeness consulting in partnership with the Oliver Law Group to make sure that we have the right kind of legal representation for these future opportunities that may be available in Michigan. I'm speaking of House Bill 4816 that just recently passed the House. I want to give a special shout out to Representative Jimmy Wilson Jr. out of Ypsilanti. He's been working tirelessly on this, and despite the House of Representatives in the state of Michigan going on what's called a sine die, so they'll be out until sometime in 2024. Things still will be moving along in the Senate with the hope of getting signed by Governor Whitmer, and this can be something that as soon as in the early first quarter of 2024, it will be legal for high school students to get name, image, and likeness opportunities in Michigan. Now, Cameron, before I talk about you and your great background, what does it feel like to be someone who's so close to sports and high school, college, and pro to be able to hear the opportunity for high school NIL to be here in Michigan?
Yeah, so I think it's a great opportunity just for, these students to really get involved. And, obviously, one of the goals, for, these athletes is to make it, to the big level. So, professional and everything like that. So to be involved with all of this is just, for me, it's a humbling experience just because this type of stuff was not around when I was in high school. So this is, new charter territory, uncharted territory. And I believe that it's going to benefit a lot of different students. So for me to kind of be a part of the foundational aspect of kind of getting this going with SPS is, to me, it's a blessing. And, sports has always been something that's been near and dear to my heart. I've always been interested in it from all different levels. So, I'm excited for the opportunity.
Yeah, I'm excited to have you here. I couldn't think of a better person to take this journey with. So let's give the audience some background on you. I know how outstanding you are, how you travel the country doing great things in your legal practice, but just talk about just your bio. And I know you're a humble guy, but this is what the people need to hear to find out the great person they can be dealing with going forward.
Yeah, so I went to Oakland University for undergrad. I stayed on campus all 4 years, got the whole experience there. From there, I went to law school at Cooley Law School in Lansing, and
that's where we met.
That's where we met, and
battling on the basketball court. True warrior right here, man.
Good, good battles on the basketball court, but through law school, I've always known I wanted to be an attorney since I was 12 years old. And so to be on that path and continue down that path to be where I'm at now is, a big reason as to, why I'm so passionate about what I do. So did Cooley for 3 years, passed the bar exam, and then I was doing primarily like no fault auto law, police brutality, those type of things. But then I started working here at the Oliver Law Group, and I became partner here recently as the end of September. And
shout out to Allison too.
Yeah, shout out to Allison Oliver. She's the best. And ever since then, I've just been doing all different types of areas of law. I do criminal defense. I do personal injury. Obviously, dipping my toe into the NIL and the sports field in that regard. We do a lot of product liability, mass torts and stuff, which is, a lot of federal work. So I've traveled all across the country, rubbed elbows with some of the biggest attorneys in the country, honestly. And it's just been a great opportunity for me, a good way to get my career started. I've been practicing for 6 years now, and the opportunities that I've had since I've been working here with the Oliver Law Group has just been endless. And obviously being able to collaborate and sponsor, this great thing regarding NIL is just something that I'm very, very excited about.
Yeah, we're excited too. I think it's important for people to know it's such a new phase. It's not law yet. So what SPS is doing, this is based on people I highly respect coming to me, reaching out to me about their children. I'll tell you, for example, I want to give a shout out to Reese Somerville, father of Keyshawn Somerville, who's doing an amazing thing, class of 2026. Shout out to Lance Stone, his dad is a good friend of mine, has been a great friend for so long. Lamonte Stone, college coach, bringing back the guards now. These are two guards. Lance is representing the class of 2025. And I use these two young men as an example of young men doing great things, and within their community, they can do a lot of things. Now, one of the common misnomers, Cameron, about high school NIL is that only the big name athletes to get it. I mean, they talked about Bronny James and his NIL violation, his NIL valuation when he was in high school in the millions of dollars. And you can easily see what that connection is. Shout out to Trey McKinney, one of the outstanding young men here in the state of Michigan, doing great things. But there's a macro economy and a microeconomy. You know, I never thought I'd be using those economics terms from my freshman year in college, but I do see it because there are opportunities already for a lot of these individuals with smaller businesses to be able to come on board. So I also want people to be educated to know that not only from the athlete standpoint are there opportunities, but from businesses standpoint to be able to get engaged, you know, whether you are in the big city like Detroit or Metro Detroit or in a small community that one stoplight town where everyone shuts down to go see the people play on Friday and things like that. So I want to make people understand that's important. So going back to you, Cameron, and your great expertise in the legal field at this point, how important is it to have sound legal representation?
Oh, it's super important. And I feel like it, you know, especially like in the Black community, we do not you know, value legal representation the way that we should. And, you know, obviously there's a lot of different factors that, you know, play a part in that. But legal representation is essential because at the end of the day, you want to know what you're doing is correct. You want to know that you're going about it the right way. You don't want to, you know, violate any kind of law that could potentially be harmful to, you know, that young person's future. So legal representation is important across the board. I think it's always good to have an attorney in your circle or in your corner, because at the end of the day, they're the people that can look at, you know, a contract, which is, you know, with these NIL deals will, you know, basically be, you know, down the line once it goes into law. But being able to analyze, being able to review and analyze those type of documents to make sure, hey, this is, you know, a potential clause in here that, you know, you should be aware of, you know, if you sign off on this and everything like that. So legal representation is important across the board. It doesn't matter what topic that it is. I mean, attorneys are essential to, you know, representation, even for professional athletes. You know, most sports agents are attorneys or they have some type of legal background. So I think that, you know, that trickles down obviously to, you know, high school students, college students, and just having that type of representation is just super important, because there are things that you just don't know that an attorney will be able to explain to you, perhaps in layman's terms and things like that. So the importance of legal representation, I think, can be understated at times, but it's priceless to have one, because at the end of the day, you want to make sure that you're on point for anything that you're investing in, if it's yourself or your kid or whatever the case may be. Legal representation is, to me, it's essential.
That's excellent. I think that's really important for our viewers to hear that. And I'll add two other points with the time we have: availability and accessibility, meaning, is this person available and can I get to them? It's
Right.
one thing for you to pick up the phone, respond to the email, but to be able to make it over to the World Headquarters here in Troy, Michigan, we're right up the road from Somerset Mall, some great restaurants to go have some great meals here all the time, but also to be able to come here and sit down with Cameron, to be able to get that kind of support, to know, I think that's important too, because as you know so well, so many times you have individuals that probably just can't access or get to the attorney. You want to talk about that for a moment too?
Yeah, I mean, and it's not as though retaining an attorney for any type of business is cheap. It's the nature of the business, right? You know, but at the same time, you know, people from, you know, under basically communities that may not be you know, have that type of, you know, financial backing and everything, it's just super, it's still something to look into, because at the end of the day, you have that right to have an attorney, you know what I mean, when it comes down to your legal affairs and stuff like that. So having accessibility is super important. And I think, you know, that's one thing that I have tried to focus on, is being accessible for all of my clients. And given the fact that it is rare for, you know, a young Black attorney to, you know, be in positions to help out people and stuff. So I've always made it a point to be able to show my face, to be a recognizable person for the community, and just to try and come off as being relatable, because at the end of the day, you want to be able to be represented by somebody that you can relate to in some kind of sense. And I think that's essential for students these days, especially knowing how much exposure it is out here with social media and things like that, having an attorney that you can say, yo, that's my guy, I think that plays a major part into, that particular kid's success, or to just in general, knowing that you can call your attorney and he's going to be able to pick up the phone or be able to show up somewhere where you need him to be there. So a lot of that plays a big part in all of that.
That's huge, and I can appreciate that. With the time we have, I want to give people an overview on what the next steps are going to be. Of course, this is all pending the legislation being passed, but there's great political momentum on both sides of the aisles, Republicans and Democrats, because, hey, when I talk to my conservative friends or people I know, and they say, I don't know about high school NIL, I say, well, you're a capitalist, aren't you? They go, yeah. I say, you about free market? Yeah. I say, well, you about this too. So we got a lot of support. The expectation is going to be SPS is going to form an exchange, just like they have on a collegiate level, modeling that whole process, where I'll look at connecting with SPS athletes, individuals who are interested in putting themselves out here. There's not going to be any commitment on your part. We're going to just get your profile information. We're going to list this information. Is going to be available in somewhat of a clearinghouse that businesses, small and large, can go and look and say, you know what, I like this young man right here. I like this young lady right here. I want to be able to see how I can connect. I want to use my business background. I was a former lobbyist for a Fortune 1 corporation. I'm going to use my political background, being close to the political process, knowing what's happening with legislation, to be able to make sure all these issues can be discussed. Along with talking about the high school NIL consulting piece, SBS is going to move into the area of sport policy, because now it's always been big business, but now high school sports is officially becoming big business. So we want to be able to add that, and you're going to have a great partner in Cameron Bell, who is actually a partner at his law firm, which speaks to what he has. Just to give you a quick overview as well, I will be doing, and I'm already booked for some and have done some already, some high school NIL consulting presentations at high schools. And the things I'll talk about are the national outlook on this, the local outlook in Michigan, those macro economy opportunities for those big businesses that want to come in and support, and those small mom and pop businesses who can still leverage the social media access that these athletes have. Then I'll be talking to the athletes about social media etiquette. You kind of touched on that a little second ago, and how important it is. And having someone like Cameron who can also give a very good eye to what they're writing and what they're posting for liability's sake, because that's important as well.
Oh, 100%. And it's, as social media has become more advanced and more, it's more accessible to, younger groups of people, it's important to make sure that I've always tell people that you are what you tweet, for example, right? So, if you're young and, you're out here and, let's say you're tweeting about this and that, you need to be cognizant of what you're putting out there, because as we all know, once it's out there in social media, it doesn't go away.
Doesn't go away.
So it's
you be calling Cameron like, man, how can I get this expunged and get rid of this?
Exactly. So it's about, taking those steps now and making sure that you understand, the platform that you're on, and it's a platform that can be accessed by a lot of people, right? So in the midst of all of that, you always want to make sure that you establish yourself with having a good profile when it comes to social media, because nowadays that's the first thing people are going to try and coordinate or connect with you on, is through social media. A lot of times, you got phone numbers and stuff like that, but a lot of people want to see, okay, what you doing on social media? What do you have out there? And based on the stuff that you put out there will likely dictate, the type of opportunities and stuff like that you can potentially get. And if you're out there, putting out stuff that could be harmful to your brand or whatever the case may be, then, you might need to kind of do a 180.
Yeah, and we want to help with that.
Yeah.
So with that being said, we're here. We're going to be a resource. We're going to look to connect businesses who are interested, as well as those athletes. And I just want to be able to come on and say I'm grateful for the relationship I had with Cameron Bell and the Oliver Law Group, and some great things are going to happen. So SPS will be connecting with you guys in the future. And if you have any questions or concerns, you can always reach us on the information that's listed right here. So with that, we're going to sign off. Appreciate you.
Appreciate you.
Looking forward to some good times,
It's going to be a great time.